Thanks for tuning in to the GridCenter. This is the SEC Recap Show. I'm your host, Shane Falco. I got my special guest host, Big D, here. He's filling in for the injured Don King, the normal co-host. He also may have been scared off of the SEC Recap Show by the Bad Boys after the game of the week, which they faced Sickwit, and they knocked off Sickwit 12-8, giving Don King a hard time on the sidelines there after he predicted a Sickwit blowout. So definitely had the Bad Boys fired up, gave them a little bulletin board material, and they came out and played some inspired football. We're going to go ahead and lead off with the individual standout performers. What do you have for the offensive and defensive players of the week?
Thanks, Falco. Let's go to SEC, offensive and defensive players of the week. For offense, we have Desmond Haynes from Fury. He had 5 receptions for 80 yards, and he has 3 touchdowns. Defensively, we're going to go to Anton Bynum, a.k.a. Tweezy, from TMT. He had 3 flag pulls and 3 sacks. Let's go to the spreads for the SEC this week. For TMT, Sickwit, probably one of the biggest, most physical game of the week. You know, these guys give it to each other, they give it to the officials, they give it to everybody. We have them down as a pick 'em, and I don't pretty much blame them. This is always this team never gets blown out. It's always a close game. It's going to be a good game to watch. Can't wait to see it. LNG versus Bad Boys. That's also pick 'em. You know, nothing against LNG. Bad Boys are one of the favorites. These guys are talented, and they got a good core guys, and they're figuring out how to win out during the regular season. Let's see what they do during the playoffs. That's also a pick 'em. We got DX versus RC Vegas. They had DX favored by 14. I can't pinpoint what's RC Vegas' problem. I don't know if they have time restraints or anything like that, but they really have to step the game up because this is pro level, and I know they're used to the JV stuff, so they're going to step their game up. All right, we got Fury, a waste of talent. Fury at 14. Should be a good game. I want to see Stone get off the. I want to see Stone pull this one out, but it's going to be real tough for these guys. No Limit versus Unit. They have No Limit at favorite by 14. This should heat somebody up. This is not my personal pick. I'm just going with the staff. I think this also should be a good game. The Units, they got speed all over the place, and they're not scared to get physical. No Limit's a physical team, and as long as you keep Gene in the pocket, have him thinking all the time, it should be a good game. I think 14 is a little high, but it is what it is. All right, we're going to go back to the Shane with the rankings and the game of the week.
Take it away, Shane. I have to agree with you. I think that No Limit game is a little high. I would put it at maybe 6 or 7, but you know, we'll see what's going on. Well, for the new rankings in the SEC, a lot of shakeups. Had some teams losing and winning. Going to be it's kind of a logjam at the top, but TMT right now stays on top. They had a big, gigantic win over the Unit. I mean, it's a blowout win. Some people thought it was going to be a much closer game than anticipated, but TMT went out and took care of business. And since they're the reigning league champs right now, and they haven't lost a game in the last couple weeks, got to go with them at number 1. Bad Boys going to jump up all the way to number 2 after knocking off Super Sickwit. Came out playing some inspired ball. My usual co-host Don King had them fired up, talking about them getting blown out. They came out, really took care of business, and knocked off Sickwit. Sickwit's going to fall into number 3 because some of the teams also below them lost. This may cause a little bit of ruffle in the feathers with somebody like LNG, but right now I just see Sickwit easily as the best of the rest here. LNG, aforementioned, they're going to be at number 4. Knocking off DX in a very, very close game, very entertaining game we wish we had on film. I mean, LNG's a very athletic team, very speedy team, very young team, very talkative team, and I think their matchup with the Bad Boys this week could be one to go either way. I mean, it could be a very physical talking game. It could be an all-out brawl. This could be a very entertaining game to watch. Who knows? But we'll see what happens on Sunday. DX falling all the way to number 5. Dropped one to LNG, and only by their strength of schedule did they kind of fall a little bit because their other win. They did knock off the Bad Boys in a very close game, and their other wins over the Scrappers in the Big 12. So I had to knock them down a little bit thanks to the strength of schedule. Fury got the last of the 2-1 teams there. Again, it's like I said, it's a logjam. A lot of teams are 2-1. But Fury right now just hasn't done enough to move up higher. But as they get in the meat of their schedule here, we'll see what happens. No Limit, got them there at number 7. Just haven't really put it all together yet. A lot of talent on this team, but haven't really found a groove yet. They even got knocked off by the Big 12 with body count. I mean, if you're going to let Dwayne catch one pass for 20 yards, then obviously you got some holes there. The Unit, number 8. This is a team that can be very up and down. They were very down this past week. There is a lot of talent on this team, but it's just a matter of putting it all together. Again, it's the first time back together in a while, so it's just not something you can just throw together and get your feet running here in the grid. You really got to have stuff on point. So, and bringing up the rear is RC Vegas, co-host Don King, self-proclaimed best QB in Nevada. Really hasn't found a groove yet. They're still looking for their first win in the grid. I don't know if really can't figure out what quite is the problem either. I think it just has to be, a lot of it's just been on cruise control, expecting to be the same team, but they're not playing the same teams they're used to playing, so they really got to find a step here quick, or they're going to be looking at a 0-4 start. DX is not a team to really get a foot up on. So those are the rankings. Let's go ahead and talk about the game of the week and some of the other interesting things that happened in the SEC. Yeah, so what do you think about the game of the week, TMT and Sickwood?
Well, they're never going to disappoint. That's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a lot of yelling and screaming. You know, I can't really wait to see that. I think the most meaningful game is going to be the LNG and Bad Boys. That's going to be a game. I mean, when you talk about jockeying for position for playoffs and trying to get each other, this game is probably the most important game. Not most important, Sickwood and TMT, that's entertainment. It is what it is. The two best teams in the league right now. But if I had to ask me as far as a meaningful game, it's going to be the LNG and Bad Boys game.
I can't really disagree with that. I mean, TMT and Sickwood are obviously the two best teams in Nevada, by far. I mean, they proved that in their showing in the tournament over this past weekend. Both getting deep, almost making the finals in each one. You know that they're both going to be in the playoffs. I mean, a lot of teams are going to make the playoffs in the SEC this season because of the teams, but as far as positioning goes, I mean, LNG just beat DX, Bad Boys beat Sickwood, so there's a lot of jockeying now, like you said. And obviously, I agree that the most meaningful game is LNG Bad Boys, because one of these two teams could end up falling lower based on, you know, conference wins and losses. So I really can't disagree with that. I mean, that's going to be a very entertaining game as well. But I mean, by far, whenever TMT and Sickwood get together, you know, like, that game is pretty much always going to come down to that last play of the game. So that obviously has to be the game of the week. But I agree with you that meaningful-wise for the season, you got to say LNG Bad Boys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, TMT and Sickwood, it is what it is. It's chicken wings, Heinekens, weed, you know, you name it, it's all going to be out there.
Right.
The angry TMT has the most fierce followers. You know, their wives come down there, they get to the game. I'm pretty sure they would get to the game if they could. But and Sickwood gets back and forth too as well. I love to watch their game, but you know, we'll see what happens. My pick of the game would be LNG Bad Boys.
Kind of hard to argue with that. I mean, the logic is definitely there for that.
Yeah.
As far as the that no limit spread, what are your opinions on that one?
I think that's a little high, you know, considering that the unit's very athletic. They can score if their quarterback is here this week. I think you make a game of it. You know, no limit. I can't put a finger on what they're doing. They could win. They look real good against TMT minus Clee. And then the following week, you know, it just seemed like they were stagnant. You know, I hate to play no limit personally, because as a team, you know that they're just going to try to physically beat your ass the whole game. But against no limit, against the unit is going to spread them out, and if they can cover, they can cover. If not, it's going to be a long day for no limit.
Yeah, I agree. I think that spread is a little high. Just to correct you on the staff thing, I mean, you are on the staff as well, and I know you didn't make the spreads. I didn't make the spreads. So, I mean, you know, I think our fearless leader made the spreads on this one.
Yeah.
I think personally I would put it as like a 6 or 7 point game myself, but, you know, again, opinions vary. So
I personally would say pick them myself.
Really?
Yeah, I would say pick them.
Well, I think No Limit's been together a little bit. That's why I give them a slight edge.
Yeah.
But, you know, any given Sunday, things can happen. So we'll see what happens in that one. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here on the SEC. Tune in next week. We'll have new rankings, some new standout individual performers, and just the upcoming thing after week 5, we'll debut the FCS, which is the Falco Championship standings, which is the human version of our version of the BCS, and we'll compare that with the SWAS computer rankings, which is the computer, and we'll see how those two stand out. So good luck to everyone out there, and we'll see you on the field this week.